So I'm beginning to think that we should pump the brakes on team playoff.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jessica Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Today, we are going to be taking another step back and looking at the bigger picture, because I do think that the rest of the Flames schedule is going to be a problem, especially with how they played last night against the Colorado Avalanche, or didn't play, depending on how you want to look at this. And we're going to talk about the fork in the road that the Flames seem to find themselves at every single year. But make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. And let's dive right into this, because my God, last night was the epitome of you can't compete where you don't compare. Like, they are hating from outside of the club. They are not in the same realm, same stratosphere, same solar system as some of these truly competitive teams. And yes, the Avalanche have struggled this year, but they have that elite talent in Nathan Mackinnon and Cale Makar, to help pick them up and do it consistently and at a level that is very difficult to match. So it was great to see Huberdeau score. First goal of the game, power play goal. Congratulations. But last night's performance just solidified how much better the team needs to be. I don't even know where to start. The defense was horrendous. Joel Hanley is not a first pairing defenseman. Kevin Ball, can you please come back? Please. It was a bad game. There's really no way around this. And I feel like, obviously losing Kevin Ball is a huge loss. Yes. But these are crucial games, and you can't be letting the lead slip away from you or letting the game just crumble. Sure, you know what? You go down 2-1. No, it's not the end of the world. You go down 3-1, and you're starting to sweat a little bit. For the Flames, it's over at that point, 9 times out of 10. And Dustin Wolf in the first period, really the first half of the game, looked uncomfortable. Like he was, I don't want to say hurt, but he was hurting. He was, he did not look like himself. And I don't know if there's anything there, if it's just him, listen, sometimes sleeping funny can really mess up your neck. I don't know. I just feel like he did not look as comfortable and play with the fluidity that he normally does. And I mean, again, first year in the NHL, he is first full season in the NHL. He is carrying the brunt of this Flames success on his back. I am sure that he is tired. I can only imagine. The Flames need to do more. We know that the defense needs to be better. We know that the offense needs to score. We know that they have to do these things consistently at the same time, night after night after night. It is very different when you have a game that, where you can pick up the slack for one another. That happens. But it is impossible for both to be so off kilter and still find true success in a season. You have to get all of the pieces together. The same book, not even the same book, the same page, the same paragraph, the same line, the same word of the same sentence. That is where the Flames need to be. And they are currently, I don't even know if they're on the same bookshelf. It feels disjointed. And maybe that's not as a whole. That's not how I would describe the whole season. But last night's game was one of the worst performances I have seen in a very, very long time. They say they care. They say they're hungry. They say they want to make the playoffs. Actions will always speak louder than words. And you have to start proving it, because I can sit here all day and say, the Flames are the best team in the NHL. That doesn't mean anything, because there's nothing there to back that up. Nothing there. They need to just get it together. And I know that is so much easier said than done. And they are working with the pieces that they have, but it's not enough. And we're going to talk more about that coming up a little bit later in the show. But coming up next, we are going to take a look at the remaining games of the season and just kind of how likely it is that the Flames may just kind of continue to fall. Looking for tickets to your next big event, whether it's a concert, comedy show, or a sports game, finding the right tickets at the right price can be a headache. But with Game Time Picks, it has never been easier. And let me tell you how it works. With Game Time Picks, the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals so you don't have to waste your time searching through endless ticket listings. I use Game Time Picks to go to the Flames in Montreal, as well as when they were in Edmonton earlier this season. And I was in and out of the app, tickets purchased, confirmed, everything, 5 minutes between the two apps. I found my tickets at a great price and fantastic seats. Game Time Picks did all of that for me. And the best part, you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they will refund you 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames, and make sure you are following me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Jessica Belmosto. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and we crept down the path of what if the Flames don't make the playoffs? And it's starting to look like they won't make the playoffs. But anything can happen. And that's what, I feel like so many of us keep telling ourselves so we don't lose, full grasp of the season. But right now, the Flames have lost their last 5 out of 7. Now, class, does that sound like a recipe for success in the playoffs? No, because you can't lose 5 out of 7. Well, I mean, no, you can't. That would be very hard to do. But the Flames truly, what this reminds me of is the 7-game losing streak that they went on a few years back. It was like the first road trip of the season. It was Daryl Sutter's last season as the coach, and it just spiraled out of control. And then they came back to reality. However, this year it feels like it's the opposite. The 5 straight wins in October gave them this cushion. And we knew that back in November and December when we were talking about, what is the direction of this team and just how they were outperforming everyone and just overachieving in their expectations, or just, where did this come from sort of deal. And I feel like we have settled in. It took 53 games, but here we are. So I want to take a look at the remaining games of the season, just a chunk. So I talked about this yesterday. They are one bad road trip away from falling completely out of the picture. And I'm not gonna go through every opponent because that would be silly, but they do have some. They have 2 games left in this 4-game homestand, and then they are on the road for a chunk of games. So they play Seattle and San Jose next. Great. Both are division rivals, so you do have to pay attention to that. But then you're heading out east. You're going to the Capitals. You're playing Tampa Bay, then the Panthers, and then the Hurricanes, and then the Flyers, and then you're in Dallas. Almost all of those teams, except for Philly, are playoff teams. Those are competitive teams. I look at that and I'm like, that is the section where the season just slips away. You're on the road. It is after the 4 Nations face-off break. You're hoping Ball and Zary are back at this point. You need to find momentum again. Rasmus Anderson, probably exhausted. And you're playing against very good teams. Do you really think you're going to score more goals than the Lightning when they dog walked you in your own house? Was that like 8-2? 7-2 at home? It was bad. Florida plays a very physical game, and we know that they can score. For goodness sake, they have Tkachuk and Bennett. We know how that works. Carter Verhaeghe. Maybe we can leave Ryan Lomberg while we're there. Just an idea. Carolina, the same deal. They just got Rantanen. They have great offense, great defense. I don't know what to tell you. I'm excited for them to play in Philly, obviously, because you have Jacob Pelletier and Andrei Kuzmenko, who will both hopefully be in the lineup. And then you come back home for a 3-game stint and you're playing Montreal, Vancouver, Colorado. You almost lost in regulation to Montreal earlier this season. Then you hit the road again. Another very likely situation where things continue to spiral out of control. At Toronto, you just got dog walked by them. The Rangers, depends on the day, but they've added JT Miller and they're looking pretty good. Then the Devils, maybe Markstrom's back at that point. I don't know. But the Devils have been playing fairly well, looking at a playoff spot. And the Islanders are one of the worst teams. They are in the draft lottery section here. But to me, it's bad. If you can't beat the Islanders, I mean, again, this is at the end of a road trip, but if you can't beat the Islanders, who have been complete garbage, good luck. Good luck the rest of this season. It's not good. And then, you finish the season. You're playing Vegas twice in the final stretch of 6 games. San Jose, Anaheim, Minnesota. Minnesota does not get enough crap for being a dirty team. They are a very physical team, and I hope they're ready. Because no one is forgetting what Jacob Lauko did. So let's just we'll put a pin in that one. Check out Seth Topol from Locked On Wild. Does a fantastic job with that show. Hopefully get him on before the end of the season, and we can kind of dissect and preview the end of where things are at there. But you finished the regular season you're at home here against Vegas. April 15th. All signs point to me being at this game. I'm paying real American currency to go watch this game. It's probably going to be bad. Actually, it might not be that bad because Vegas could probably be sitting half of their roster. Mark Stone going on LTIR in I don't know, 2 weeks. We've got things are in the works, right? But I just do not see these road trips, the one that's coming up, and then the one that's right after, it looks like, March 17th, when you're in Toronto. Those are the 2 chunks of time where I'm going to say the season slips away. It is very easy for that to happen. And I'm not rooting for it. I'm not advocating for it. It is just a likelihood. It is a tough road ahead for the Flames. And we're going to talk about that because they are once again at a fork in the road. And what truly comes next for the Calgary Flames. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you are subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your Calgary Flames every day. Should the Flames continue to play the way they did these last 2 games, we will be saying hello to the draft lottery. We will be saying, what is up? What is up, San Jose? Oh, what's up, Anaheim? What's up, New York Islanders? And whoever else is trickling in. Because it is going to be very difficult to win playing the way that they did against any team, but especially the playoff caliber teams that they will be facing. It is that simple to say. It is that easy to say. It is a fact. You aren't going to win games by playing bad hockey. Especially if your opponent is also is playing the exact opposite of you. They're playing great hockey. It's not going to be easy. And this is where we are once again, right? We are at the fork in the road. Do we embrace the challenge and go, okay, play? Maybe we add someone at the deadline. Nothing too crazy. The Flames do not need another depth player. They do not. So I truthfully cannot. I don't know what they're doing, if they're doing that. Are we going down? Another young something that has to truly fit the archetype of what they're looking for and not just a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. But are we going down okay, we're going to strive for the playoffs, set this team up because they've played well up until this point? Is that worth doing again? And then you could also go down the road of, this has been a long season. It has been a year of adjustment. It has been a very long year. They've played their hearts out. I don't want to say you phone it in, because we know no one is ever going to actually phone it in. But do you just kind of put it in cruise control? And you go out there, you do your shifts, like you clock in, you clock out. It doesn't matter whether you work super hard or you're just cruising. It just very apathetic. Because to me, I want this team to get better. I am not team tank or team playoff. I tweeted this earlier. I am team, please, for the love of God, get better. And in order to do that, you can't be making these in-season moves constantly. You can't be trying to fix something that needs more than Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost to fix. I think that those two are fantastic ads. Do not get me wrong. However, you can't be flirting with the idea of trading for Casey Middlestat or Dylan Cousins when they are already what you have. You don't need more of what you have. You need better. You don't go to a car dealership and say, oh, I want to trade in my 2025 Toyota Camry for that 2019 Honda Civic with 150,000 miles on it. There is no benefit to that. Like, you are taking steps back. And that's not what the Flames need to do. The Flames need, that's not entirely true. The Flames need to give up the reins, come to terms with not being a contender or competing at the moment, and let fate play out. No one is saying go out there and throw the games, but if you go out there and play the way you did against the Avalanche night after night after night, that first overall pick will be yours soon enough. Doesn't have to be first overall. Top 5. That is a very likely scenario. I'm not saying that's this year, but next year, if you play like that, team tank. Let's get the tankathon going. Like, there's just so many reasons why you should want this team to be better. I want nothing more than this team to be successful. I want to go out there. I want to have the same level of excitement that I do for the whole 82 games that I had when this team had high-end scoring talent with Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk. You had a great defensive group. You had a fantastic special teams. It was not enough to win, but you were close. Some things not happened. You could have potentially ran it back, but that's besides the point. We've been there. We've discussed this. But you need to get back there. You cannot count on finding those hidden gems in the 4th round. There's a reason why Johnny Gaudreau being drafted in the 4th round is so, prolific and unbelievable, right? You need the Matthew Tkachuks. You need to know how to develop players so you don't let Sam Bennett walk and go win a Stanley Cup, or trade him and let him win a Stanley Cup. You have to figure it out. And I am in full belief that Craig Conroy has shifted the philosophy, but needs to put in the work. I think it is absolutely possible for this team to win a Stanley Cup under Craig Conroy. It's just not going to happen overnight. And, Jesse from the Steve Dangle podcast was very generous, saying the Flames window will be open when the new arena opens. I love that optimism. I hope he's right. But I do get worried. Because you need to put butts in the seat. The vibes have to be better. The hockey, at the end of the day, the product you are putting on that brand new ice in a brand new facility needs to be better. You have these last few years at the Saddle Dome. Fantastic arena. One of the best ones I've visited. To prepare that. I'm not saying you got to rip it all down, but you have to strategically remove to add. And that's why the Kuzmenko Pelletier for Frost and Farabee makes sense. But you got to do more of that. You can't go out here say, oh yeah, we're going to sign Mikko Rantanen in free agency. We're going to go after him. Like, yes, that would be great, but are you in a position to be doing that? No. You have to continue to make some tough business decisions. And maybe you trade some really loved players. Go read the article on the Win column about the Flames' loyalty and how that's kind of holding them back. Because there are several good points there. But that'll do it for me on today's episode of Locked On Flames. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, stay warm. It is absolutely bitter cold here, and we're going to be getting a lot of snow. So enjoy your weekends, get your snacks, because I look forward to hearing what everyone has to say in the comments. Don't forget, you can leave a nice little rating and review on iTunes as well. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. And we will continue down, whether it's standing at the fork in the road or going down a certain path here on Locked On Flames.